Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Evan and John, and you're listening to the Boomer and X Show.
All right, welcome back to the Boomer and X Show, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to be back after a lengthy.
Yeah, we've been out for a while.
Yeah, we've been out for a while. It was unexpected, but a whole lot of things have happened, and quite honestly, more of them bad than good. But anyway, we're still here, and we're back. And one quick thing that I want to mention before we kind of get into our conversation mode, our last episode we did was the interview with Katie, your wife. Mm-hmm. And for those that haven't followed on Facebook and haven't seen, your baby is a daughter.
Is a girl, Gracie Elizabeth.
Gracie Elizabeth.
Can't wait to meet her.
I can't either.
It's going to be awesome.
And we had a wonderful time that Sunday morning with the race, and she did complete the half marathon.
Yep.
As planned, and we all found out together. I didn't know before anybody else did.
Yeah, only people who knew before were like we planned, me and her mom.
Yeah,
and
I didn't even ask you
because you knew I wouldn't tell.
I knew you wouldn't tell me, and I'm like, I'm not special. I'm not going to know before anybody else does. So
well, here's the thing. I already ruined the reveal with the first episode,
right?
So I didn't want to ruin this, and I made sure I didn't ruin it, but.
I kind of had a gut feeling it was a girl, but
why is that?
I don't know. Just had a gut feeling. But anyway, all is going well there, and that's great news. Anyway, a lot has happened over the past 3 weeks, and it threw us off schedule. And I had done a boatload of research about,
just like the nerd you are,
about one of my favorite guys of all time, and that's Albert Einstein. But we're going to bag that right now, and what we're going to do is we're going to hang on to all of that research and those notes, and we'll hit Albert Einstein up real good on some.
Well, yeah, because we wanted to do it by his birthday,
which was 3/14,
and we had so many just things, because we're not full-time podcasters. We have stuff that get in the way. And
not yet. We're not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But, yeah, it's just one thing after another. And here we are.
Yeah.
End of the month, putting out another episode.
So, actually, this one's going to be a little different. What we're going to do, you and I are going to converse. We haven't really looked.
You have picked out topics.
I've picked out some topics. You've picked out some topics.
I don't know what they are.
And I said, don't tell me what you're looking at. We're just going to have a conversation. Now, before we leave you tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to line out some things that we have
planned
for future shows.
Yeah.
But here's what we're not going to do. Announce any dates.
Just in case.
Just in case. Because...
Well, and so far we've done pretty good at doing what we promised we would do.
Topic-wise. Yeah, timeline got a little, but I don't ever know that we...
I don't know if we've ever said a weekly thing. Pretty much we're sticking to 10, 11-ish days. Well,
this one's been 23.
This knocks our average out of the park.
But. Yeah, this is... But anyway, we're going to try to line out some future topics, but we're not going to promise any dates. But by future, we mean the next month or month and a half. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Well, let's go ahead and do that now.
You want to get them now?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay. We both find, especially with you about to be a dad, the whole topic of childhood vaccinations, and there, some people are not going that route. And
and is that a new thing?
I think it's a new thing for people choosing not to go that route.
And you have a friend who didn't take a trip to see his mom recently,
right?
Because of a measles outbreak?
Well, he was just concerned about the measles. I don't know that there's an outbreak. Maybe there is. I haven't looked into it that
We'll hit it on that episode.
Yeah, we'll get it. But anyway, we're going to talk about some vaccinations, but we've also found a very interesting chart that lines out causes of death in 1900 versus 2010.
Yeah.
And the change is very, very interesting.
And pretty much that episode is going to be what we think happened to why that chart is the way it is.
Right.
I think it's going to be cool.
Just some educated guesses as to why some things went up and some things went down.
And then we're also going to talk Buzz
Bernard.
A
friend and a former co-worker of mine at the Weather Channel has released his fourth novel.
Yeah.
And it's doing well. I've read one of his books and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was called Supercell. You are reading...
I'm about 50% through his book Plague.
And we have been in touch with Mr. Bernard.
Yep.
And
he's going to come on.
He's going to come on the show. We still have some technical things that we want to do to get our interview of someone that's not with us.
Yeah.
Get that
Yeah, we've had some trouble with where they sound louder than us and stuff.
Right.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We want to get to him sometime in the month of April. We might do an Earth Day thing sometime in the month of April.
We're doing an Earth Day.
We're doing an Earth Day thing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I might okay.
You might what?
Well, it's a big deal to me.
You might need to do it. Well, exactly. That's why we need to do it.
It's a big deal to me.
Like what? Personally speaking, politically speaking, what?
All of the above. I don't think it should be a political issue, but obviously it is.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, it's a big deal to me. As someone who loves nature the way I do, it's a big deal to me. Anyway, we'll find some angle.
I was thinking. So I was out kayak fishing the other day on the Vermilion River, and it's got to be one of the trashiest rivers in Louisiana. Has to be. While I'm fishing there, so I anchor because it's a river, and I don't want to float while I'm casting out in a good spot. So I'm anchored and I'm casting out, and so I'm stopping the current somewhat, and the side that's stopping the current is building up trash and all this debris. And I was thinking this would be funny to talk about for a nature, some kind of. So Earth Day is perfect to bring that up for. I want to find out. Where's all this trash coming from in the Vermilion River? That locally, and that drains into the Gulf of Mexico.
Sure.
So,
So anyway, speaking of fishing, let's talk about something very, very pleasant.
Dude, I'm still sore from that fishing
that
trip.
happened recently.
Let's talk about it.
You wimp. I did 70% of the paddling. Okay, so this past weekend, your baby sister had a birthday.
Yeah, my baby 18-year-old sister.
Yes.
That is insane. Wow.
Okay. To you.
For me, yeah. 18 years.
Right.
For you old farts, nothing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, heck, my grandson is only
13, 14.
He'll be there in less than 5 years. He's 13. So, but anyway, we got off work Friday night. We headed that way. We got there about 1 or 1:30 Saturday morning.
And we were going to go out that night.
We were going to go out that night.
It was just too late.
And it was raining.
Oh, yeah, it was raining.
It was raining.
And it rained Friday night to Sunday morning.
All day.
Literally all Saturday.
All day Saturday, because we actually were going to go out Saturday after your sister's
Krista's
little paint party.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
About that.
Yeah, we will.
Because what's funny is, so that had been in plans for a month.
Your mom threw her a painting, kind of a do-it-yourself painting with a twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
but instead of going to painting with a twist, your mom just had it in the fellowship.
And she was the instructor.
And
so I guess Thursday or for Wednesday or Friday, you decide you're going to come with me.
Right.
And I tell Mom, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so nervous. We're going to have a professional artist in the room." And I mean, it showed that you clearly knew what you were doing over there.
But I was just.
It was acrylics, and
I was just playing around.
Yeah,
just
and of course I was
fun.
too.
And I had no.
Can you tell?
I had no intention of even thinking about saying anything, doing anything other than just being one of the people sitting.
But she thought, "Oh, John's gonna be critiquing my every word." Yeah.
No. In fact, you and me and your brothers all sat over there and told a lot of jokes. You know what it reminded me of?
We were the class clowns.
It reminded me of being in school when I sat around and
just joking around.
Joked.
Did we get pictures of those? I think I got a picture of Ethan's because it was so funny. Because I know you don't watch any anime, but the show Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, yeah. No.
Okay, so it's anyway, side story. Dragon Ball Z is a show we watched as a kid, and the pictures, we were in a church, and so we're painting angels. So Ethan starts, he does his background, and he paints the angel. He does the wings, and the next thing I know, I look over there, and he's giving it orange clothing. Okay, so he's giving orange clothes, and I look
look nothing like the pictures your mom had given us
like
to get right.
And then he paints this yellow hair, and as soon as he starts doing that, I know exactly what he's doing. Goku from the Dragon Ball Z, and he gives it a halo, and I was like, man, pretty soon he's gonna be erasing the wings. And so anyone my age knows what Dragon Ball Z is, and that's why it was so funny,
right?
And I don't know what I painted. It was an angel, but it kind of looked like a Trekkie.
Yeah.
I don't know. And honestly, I was following the picture I was looking at. So I'll post the picture and what ended up being what I ended up with, and we'll post yours, and you show how awesome you are.
No,
even playing around.
No, it was totally nothing.
Oh, we'll post it.
It's not. No, I don't know.
We got to have a comparison because yours was as close to the picture as it got.
No, I didn't copy the picture. I went off color and everything.
That's true.
I just kind of went. I picked colors I like and just went with that. And
all right, so let's get to this fishing trip.
Hang on.
Okay, no.
When we were painting, your brother Corey is sitting over there, and he's doing something, and I said, Corey, that actually looks like a nice little abstract piece. So stop with that. Don't do anything else to it. Leave it alone and go get another one.
And what does he do?
Start another one.
He does exactly that.
He does exactly that.
And it was like, John's the resident expert here, so
I just thought he
and to be totally honest, I've seen your art in your house, and it looks like something I've seen you do before.
I've delved into abstract a couple of times. Yeah, I gave one of them away,
and it looked real dark, real angry. You know, is kind of the emotion the piece.
Right.
And you said the name you gave that piece that I'm comparing it to was anger. Yeah. So
and then he said, "Well, I don't want to call it anger. I want to call it seething." I said, "Man, that sounds more ominous. That sounds a little worse than anger." But anyway, so he did two pieces, and anyway, we had fun with that, and it just kept raining, so we just really kind of hung around there a lot longer than I really thought we would.
Yeah. But, and we ended up. I mean, we had good food and good people to hang out with.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we ended up going and playing volleyball that night.
Yes, you did.
And not right now, but I want to whenever we do a religion episode, which we will. Bring this back up. What happened that Saturday night?
Yeah, I agree. I
want to bring this part up.
I agree
because it was at a church, and it was at their life center, and religion came into play.
Yeah,
at a life center playing volleyball.
I agree. That's when we hit this topic someday. It's
and so you just went to my parents' house.
I went to your parents' house.
The ladies.
And chilled, and we watched like 40 back-to-back episodes of Family Feud.
Yeah, Family Feud. Dude, with what's his name? Steve
Harvey?
Harvey?
Yeah.
When he took over, it got so hilarious because he makes fun of the answers like in their face.
Oh, yeah. Well, the original guy, Richard Dawson, was really great at that.
Well,
that was
way
before
my time.
That was before your time. But
is that the guy who would give a kiss?
He would kiss everyone.
I saw a Family Guy making fun of it. They're like dun, 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 and Peter Griffin walks out and he's like kissing everyone, like tonguing them in the mouth, even the guys.
That's Richard Dawson, and he would kiss all the women. But he was great at hosting the show and being
good,
very
quick
very
with
fun.
the
quick
joke.
with the And if somebody gave a stupid answer,
I think YouTube videos of him, some good ones, some highlights.
Right.
But I mean, my day, Steve Harvey, he's good.
The guy.
I mean, he'll just bust out laughing at some stupid answers and make fun of
and in one of this family, and I don't even remember, but they had won 5 episodes in a row, and on their very first episode they had this guy, and I forget his name, but the question was, give derriere is a polite name for where you sit. Give other polite. So they have backside and rear and all this kind of stuff. And this guy says anus.
Well, sit on your anus.
Yeah, and so obviously Steve Harvey. That's comic gold, and the audience goes crazy, and his family. That was their first show.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it was the top one, like the first answer.
No. That wasn't that answer. That was a strike. That answer didn't. But that was their first show, and they won 5 times. So he rode that the whole time. Yeah,
bring up right. A lot.
I did notice something though. Now we know they tape these shows in a row, but this particular family, and I noticed it because we were watching these episodes all back to back, had the same clothes on.
Because
you would think they'd bring a change of clothes so it would look a little different. But anyway, okay, enough about talking about a TV show on the Game Show Network.
The fishing trip.
The fishing trip. Now, Sunday, I had told you that I didn't have a problem with going to church.
We ditched you.
But I just didn't want to get up early. So, well, you took me at my word, and I woke up and everybody was gone.
It was you and the dogs.
It was me and the dogs and some Rice Krispies and leftover pizza.
Here's the deal. If you don't go to church, you don't go to lunch.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a package deal. But if you do not go to church, you do not get to go to lunch.
And we had Chinese buffet.
Yeah, thank you very little.
You had your Rice Krispies.
I had Rice Krispies, and then right as you guys were getting, I was like, well, I'm definitely not in on the lunch deal. And then so I went and had a slice of cold pizza. So anyway, you get there, and weather-wise, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was cool, but it wasn't cold. It was cloudy, so you didn't have to go outside and have to squint and all this kind of stuff. So we went out and we started our takeout point was at your and Ethan's friend David Green.
Yeah, surprised you remember his name. That's funny.
Well, he's very hospitable, very nice guy. It's the first time I'd ever met him.
And, might even be a new listener.
I hope he is. So anyway, we get there, and we've got the yo-yos. And I would have never thought of this. I would have gone and bought some
stinky
catfish Charlie or something that smells like death warmed over. You guys just brought some wieners.
Oscar Mayer wieners.
Some wieners out.
Cutting them in about eighths.
And that's what we baited the yo-yos with. And we started saying, man, we no sooner got those things out than they started.
We had, 48 yo-yos, and before we could even bait 12 of them, we were catching.
Yeah.
And we had jugs out too, but it was like 8 of those. And everything. The jugs and yo-yos was hitting. I mean, so David's up there writing a paper at his house, and we launched from his house, so Ethan calls him, man, we're killing it. And so he ended up joining us. So we had me and you in the flatboat, 14-foot flatboat.
Yep.
We were the mule. We were carrying all the gear. They were
paddling our asses off.
And they were going out and
zipping in and out in
everything.
kayaks.
Yeah, flying around.
Yeah.
Which is good. They were, I mean, that's why I like kayak fishing so much. You can get under trees and places where a fisherman can never go.
Right.
And, you can catch all those fish that are just hiding. And that's why we were doing so well, is because we were able to get places where normally people don't go. And it rained and the water was up.
It had rained like we mentioned, it rained all day the day before, and the water was up. You were telling me, now that's not a particular spot I've ever been before. You were telling me that we were paddling over areas that are typically dry land, and we started putting them out.
What was our total number? 30 keepers?
24 keepers.
Okay, 24
keepers.
And we threw back mudcats.
We threw 6 mudcat and some freaky damn psychedelic.
I told you to
you told me to
hold it up for a picture, and you're like, all right, and you're grabbing. And I was like, no, lip it and hold it up so you can get a good full picture. And you do, and it's like her bites down.
Bit me and drew blood. I'm like, what the hell?
So since it had teeth, and I was already thinking it was a gar, we're going to say it was a gar. And you know what? Let's put a picture up, see what somebody thinks. Because it had green.
Did you take a picture of that
I got 3 pictures of it.
Oh, it has. It had green fluorescent-looking fins.
Yeah,
it was very bizarre.
Weird. And I've never seen a gar like that.
Yeah.
But and its tail had an eye, a fake-looking eye on
but it didn't have that long snout. Like
exactly.
It didn't have that.
I'm saying, and I said, and my initial thought was a glass catfish, but I quickly threw that off to the side.
But anyway, we had a terrific time. We stayed out there until what time? What did we get out there? About 2:00.
I'd say 2 to like 6.
About 6:30. I mean,
And
it
then-
was starting to get
what
dark.
was even more cool is we're at David's house, and he's like, well, y'all go out there and check everything, and I'm going to skin all the fish for y'all.
Right.
I was like, are you serious? We're at his house using his boat. Well, you know,
Well, he and
we
your
were
brother,
using Ethan's kayak.
he and Ethan
Yeah.
stayed and
And then
skinned,
Ethan
and
ended
we
up
went
staying.
out to retrieve.
Everything.
Yeah.
And, man.
And we
it
had
was-
4 more when we got out there.
Yeah,
so a grand
when we
total
hit
of
'em,
24.
when we got out there, it was at the perfect time because we caught like 20 in
A couple of hours.
2 hours,
Yeah.
and then the rest,
Kind of, just
the rest 4 hours
drizzled
after.
in a little bit, yeah.
But either way, you especially were starving, and we went home
Yeah,
and cooked these
'cause I had-
things.
I don't know how far we paddled during the course of the whole. Now, keep in mind that this whole thing, there's no motor involved, not
Yeah.
even a trolling motor. Everywhere we go, we paddle,
Yep.
and there was a breeze. So if we got crossways,
Headwind,
it was
yeah.
we kind of the wind was catching the side of the boat a little bit like a sail. So. We did expend a good bit of energy to do this, and I know I've been sore in my upper body the past 2 days, but it was a perfect kind of sore, like going to the gym and doing a little something without doing.
And I
too
was sore
much.
because we went and played volleyball the day before, and then did all that paddling.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm still sore, a little in the upper body.
I am too a little bit, but it was a blast. And then, like you said, I was starving, and we went to your
good.
brother's house and actually.
Well, we ended up with 50 fillets.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty close number. 50 fillets, and man, we ate 20 of them that night.
Right.
And and we ended up with plenty of leftovers. And actually, this Saturday, I plan on cooking the rest of them.
Cooking the rest of it.
And hopefully you're there. I mean,
I plan on being there. I do have some things this weekend, but
Ethan kept saying, he's like, man, I've paid good money for worse catfish, and
it was
when I
excellent.
tried it,
It
I
was
don't know if it
excellent.
was just me starving or what, but that was some good catfish.
But I will tell you that image did stick with me for a while.
What? Oh, the killing them?
Yeah. Okay. I've never been a real successful fisherman. I've caught a few,
Yeah.
but when I did catch them, throw them in a nice chest and they stay all day. And by the time you get them home and you're cleaning them, they're dead.
Yeah.
These fish,
They were breathing.
these fish were still
They were
very
wiggling around in your hand,
much
taking
alive.
the picture.
And when now they cleaned the ones and we went out and retrieved, but when we brought the 4 back,
We cleaned them.
yeah, and I mean your brother is extremely efficient.
Well,
at
yeah, he
this.
did 3 to mile 1.
And so I'm sitting there watching this, and again, I haven't cleaned a damn fish since I was probably 18 years old.
Yeah.
So, and when I did, it was dead. He makes a couple of cuts here and there. He hangs it up on a nail on the wall. He
Skins it.
pulls the skin off, and I make I said, that's a very below average way to die, is to have your skin pulled off of you while you're
And
still.
he's like, oh, man, it'll be still breathing when I'm done filleting.
And I'll be a son of a gun if he didn't do all of the cutting and cut this perfectly filleted piece of meat and laid it out here to the side to the point where if I had fire right there,
you could eat it.
I could have cooked it and eaten it, and that fish was still flopping around. I said, there's something wrong with this picture. I could eat this
What I think
fish
is
while
hilarious-
he's still moving around.
the shade of color you went when Ethan was like, oh, that's nothing. When I put them back in the guts in the water, a couple of them swam off.
And I was like, oh, man, no. So
Dude, you went white.
I was like,
as you're stuffing your face with a piece of catfish.
I don't know. I guess a little city boy-itis, but I had never been a part of such an efficient operation when it came to killing and eating something. But anyway, they did not die in vain.
Oh, yeah.
Almost half of them have already been eaten, and the others will be eaten Saturday night. So that's really what I wouldn't kill anything.
I don't know.
and
Does
not eat
PETA?
it.
Does PETA?
I don't know if they're listening to this. They're probably already.
Well, but do they protect catfish?
They protect anything. I could say that I pulled a fly's wings off, and they would have a damn thing nailed to my door tomorrow.
Throwing red paint on you.
Anyway, okay, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some random stuff. A lot of it is this
That's
date.
promising.
Well, a lot of it is this date in history. I mean, it's it has some relevance to something. But anyway, We're
we're going to kind of do a March wrap-up since it's been a whole month since, almost a month.
It's been a little over 3 weeks since we did something. So we're going to talk about some things, but it's not specific to a topic, so we're going to leave it at that. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
And we're back. So before we get into any topics, I want to talk about something that we've mentioned previously in I don't know what episode, very early. And we actually got feedback on this, the bet we made with Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, so since we made that bet, Tiger Woods has pretty much retired. I mean, he's not. This is what he said. I'm stepping back from my professional game to practice, is what he's doing, and that's what he did. And so, I don't know. I guess sometime around then, at our work, we had a sign up that's like marking where something's supposed to be.
Yes. And
it said sorbent pad, SORBENT, and you were like, that's not even a word.
It's absorbent.
Exactly.
Right.
And so at the time I was, I didn't want to challenge you because you're so much better at grammar than me. But I was like, no, that's a word, I think, because it is a sorbent and it absorbs is what I thought in my head. And it made sense, but I didn't say anything because I knew you'd prove me wrong. So it comes up again, and I was like, no. That's actually a word. And you're like, no, it's not. And so we get into it, and sure enough, you end up, you're so confident, you lay the Tiger Woods bet out on the line saying, I'm off the chain if it actually is a word. Sure enough.
You looked it up
on
your
I looked it
phone.
up, and it's a word. So just to let everyone know that emailed in and made fun of me for making that bet, I'm off the hook no matter what happens.
And I lose $1 million over the stupid word sorbent. It's all right. I'll find some other way.
How do you know Tiger Woods ain't going to come back and get a jacket?
I'll bet you $1 million.
You're going to rebet?
I'm going to rebet. What kind of jacket? He walks into a store and buys one?
No,
jacket?
I'm not going to be
a green jacket?
Yeah, a green one.
Hell no.
He's got it in him.
No, he's done.
He's
washed up.
He's not done.
He's done.
I bet you $1 million.
Okay, good. I'll take that bet.
All right, so I wanted to start off with that I'm now out of that bet.
And I had already had half of it spent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it included a trip out west.
All right, so hit me with some topics.
Yeah, on this date, which is March 25th, March 25th, 1965, the marchers led by Martin Luther King Jr. that left Selma, and we've certainly talked about that in the movie, and a previous topic for us, reached Montgomery on March 25th, 1965. So that happened on today. On this now, and to me, that seems like forever ago.
Well, yeah,
but just 4 years later, in 1969. The thing about it is I kind of remember this a little bit. So what I'm probably remembering is people talking about it after the fact. But John Lennon and Yoko Ono having they get married and they decide to have their honeymoon as a sleep in or a bed in or a sit in, and it's to bring attention to the Vietnam War and world peace and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they
never even heard of that.
Yeah, they just stay, and so the press comes, and the whole thing is about them sitting in their bed, laying in their bed for a few days, and just the press is making a big damn deal about it. Like I said, it seems like I remember this. What I'm probably really remembering is seeing it talked about in subsequent years. We need to do an
episode on press, the power of the press.
I tell you, well,
that's a good episode.
Well, yeah. When we talked about, I know when you and I were talking about the movie Selma, And
yes,
maybe
we did mention that.
Did we
Power of the
mention that
press.
what was so interesting was the fact that the newspaper and TV coverage was what actually got things moving, because the images and
were
people
so graphic.
were so
and
graphic.
it represented that in the movie.
It did, right.
Yeah.
Man, I know you and I've talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it on the show or not.
And I think when we were talking about that in the episode, I said we need to do a press episode.
And we need to do a press episode. Also, 1969 was just an amazing year. It was the year that we landed on the moon, and we are, when we get into July.
We didn't land on the moon.
We are going to do some moon landing stuff for an episode when we get into July.
Okay.
Also, 1970, the Concorde, on this date, March 25th, made its first supersonic flight. You do know what the Concorde is.
Yeah, it was the first thing that made a supersonic flight. No, I don't know.
You know, the plane, it had the funny shape, and instead of the typical wings that you see coming out, it's kind of like a V shape. Okay. It made its first supersonic flight in 1970. It actually went into service, it says here, in 1976.
Why do they need something that fast in service? Like, what service?
Flying across the Atlantic from Europe to the United States.
Like, transporting people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They used it as a but I mean, it was super expensive to fly on the Concorde.
Well, I bet.
And it was taken out of service in 2003. There was, to my knowledge, there was only one crash ever of a Concorde, and it happened in 2000. And if I remember correctly, it was pretty damn spectacular. It caught on fire. If I remember, a wheel hit something on the runway, spun it back up, hit into something, into important. Like an engine or something, and there was a fire. I think that's how that all came about in terms of the crash for the Concorde. What else you got for March?
Boston Marathon bombing trials began
earlier this month, didn't it?
Yeah, the 4th or something. But heck, we put it on an episode on the 3rd, so
right.
It's worth talking about.
Is it over? Have they come to a?
I don't know.
It's
only one person, isn't it, left?
Well, didn't they kill?
They killed the oldest one.
Right, they killed.
And now the guy who's left is like saying, "Hey, I was under the influence of what he was telling me to do."
Right.
But
Now I do see, because you sent me a little thing so I could take a look here. He's facing 30 charges, and again, actually, it may have already been done by now.
Yeah.
17 of which come with a possibility of the death penalty, which tells me that the state of Massachusetts must have the death penalty. But I don't ever remember hearing of anyone executed in Massachusetts. If it's happened, I certainly don't remember it.
Yep.
I mean, Texas fries them like we fry fish. And I think Georgia, I did see that Utah has reinstated the firing squad.
What?
Yes. And they had it up until, it seems like they did away with it in the 70s.
Like when you get in a line and shoot one guy?
Yeah, everybody.
See, I thought I remembered that was only reserved for generals, a death for a general. Or some important person.
Wait, no. What? Why would you shoot
death by firing squad
for a general?
Is reserved for a high-ranking officer.
You mean a military thing?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when's the last time the military's put anybody to death.
Probably
via execution. I couldn't tell you.
Probably Civil War days.
But I do remember that Utah doing theirs, instead of lethal injection and electric chair and all that kind of stuff, they used to do theirs by firing squad.
How is that more humane?
Hey, dude, a bullet. I mean, boom. I mean, it's fast.
I guess 30 bullets or however many.
No, it's just one.
It's just one?
I think it is just
one.
one.
That's not a squad.
Well, but the deal is that everybody except one has blanks, so that no one really knows if they're the one that did it, or maybe it's everybody has a bullet except one has it. Blanks enter into it in some way.
Huh.
You know what? Let's do a deaths and an execution.
But what would that
sometime.
go good with? What would that go good with?
I don't know. It's pretty damn interesting of its own. I mean,
ways to die. I mean, there's a show on it. Have you ever seen 1,000 Ways to Die?
Yeah, I mean, no, I haven't, because I'm not interested. But
Spike TV.
yeah, I'm not interested. Because I know, at some point I'm going to have my one way, and that's
and that's all.
that's all I need to know. Hopefully, it won't be strung up on a nail and somebody's pulling my damn skin off.
It goes around, comes around.
Oh man, it did. I found myself a little. I was like, wow, that seems rough.
You were standing there, you're like, y'all know I'm a city boy, and this is kind of unnerving to me.
Yeah. And again, I've done it before. It's been a long time, but I've done it. But they were always
You're right,
dead.
they're dead.
But anyway, but just within the past few days, Utah has reinstated the death by firing squad. And I know the way it used to be done, and I'm assuming it's going to be done the same way now, is not everybody has live ammunition. So that should someone have regret somewhere down the road, they won't be sure whether they actually did it or not. I don't know if it's...
Who are these people pulling the trigger?
Whoever the state hires to do it. I mean, it would be the same people that in another state would fire up the electric chair.
Gotcha.
Or administer lethal injection. Although I think the lethal injection is administered by a doctor or someone with a medical background.
So
I don't know that it's a doctor.
What is the best way you think to do it? If you have to kill somebody.
Actually, I think firing squad's pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, I think firing squad's pretty good. And by the way, I'm for the death penalty. I would like it to be done a lot differently than it is, but in general,
the only thing I say is if you're going to kill somebody, it has to be irrefutable.
We have to know that we know that we know. That's right.
Yeah, because I know there's been a couple instances where they think we might have killed an innocent man.
And see, that's where I think some really bad things that have to do with race and money come into play.
Well, speaking of race, we have a lot going on with the Ferguson. The Justice Department released a report on Ferguson police, and it pretty much showing let's just show this stat right here alone. 93% of the arrests made from 2012 to 2014 were black citizens, but only 67% of citizens in Ferguson are African American. So
disproportionate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's more things in here. Ferguson Police Chief Thomas Jackson resigns. 5 other employees resign and are fired. Ferguson Police Chief, I already read that. Let's say during a protest, 2 St. Louis area police officers are shot in front of the Ferguson Police Department, and then they found the guy who did it. That's in the news right now. This is all in March. All this.
But I'm saying that the guy that shot the officer recently, within the past week or so,
What I think is funny is his defense was he was shooting at someone else. Was his plea.
Really?
I wasn't shooting at them two. I was shooting at someone else. I
think we might be talking about different guys then.
21-year-old Jeffrey L. Williams. He was charged with shooting the 2 officers. He says he shot the 2 police officers by accident from a car. He claims he was shooting at someone else. Like, okay, you can go.
Okay, we might be talking about, because there's been...
Even if we're not talking about the same guy, that shooting or things like that are increasing tension between demonstrators and police in Ferguson. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. The tension in the area. You've got this guy getting choked out in Queens.
Yes.
And not choked out, but choked
to
dead.
Right.
In Queens, and they won't release the report on that for some reason.
Correct. They will not release a report.
And so clearly they're trying to keep...
Well, the thing about it is
calm.
I don't, the report. To me, reports are more when you don't have something on video.
Well, this is, yeah.
I saw the report.
Yeah.
You
did see the report?
No, the report was...
you saw the video. Exactly.
Really? Do I need a report?
Do you need it on paper?
Right. That was the report.
You literally saw it happen.
Anyway.
Poor guy.
Look, there are a lot, and I don't really want to get off into this too deeply, but there are a lot of officers that do wonderful public service. work.
And they got in the job to do that.
Yes.
And then you have guys that
And
just
guess
want
what?
to watch the world burn.
And guess what? There are some total assholes
Yes.
that are cops.
Yeah.
So,
and that's in any
Well, of
line of
course it is.
business there is.
of course it is. What I can't stand about people is that they will automatically come down on the side of one or the other
Yep.
just because that's the side they're always going to come down on without knowing anything about anything. But again, we have that about everything in
Yep.
this country.
A lot of gray areas.
You can't talk about anything without a large portion of the population automatically taking one side based on their politics.
Politics,
the rest of it
religion,
doesn't
whatever.
mean anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of depressing. I try not to think about it too much. I do have another interesting thing, and if any of our listeners have watched the Howard Stern movie Private Parts, this will mean something to them. On this date, March 25th, in 1971, New York's flagship radio station, WNBC, becomes the first to ban Brewer and Shipley's One Toke Over the Line due to alleged marijuana references. Now, you probably know the song. You may not know it right now as I say the title, but if you hear it, you'll say, oh, okay, I recognize that song, because for your age, you're very, very good with knowing old music, so you probably know that. What I find ironic and funny about this is that it's station WNBC. That's the station that hired Howard Stern from his job in Washington on the radio station. Okay?
Okay.
The thing about it is what they did was they saw that he was getting all of these ratings in D.C., and instead of listening to the nature of the show,
They just hired
they
him.
just hired him,
'Cause
and
they
so
wanted- yeah.
because they wanted the numbers. So when he starts doing the same thing in New York that he was doing on his previous station, they go batshit crazy and lose their minds. What's so funny is that the part played by Paul Giamatti is they're trying to micromanage him down to the point where even telling him how to say the call letters. So he's on there and he's saying this is WNBC, and they're saying no, it's WNBC, and they go through this whole
Wow.
damn rigmarole.
And this is in the movie,
This is in the movie.
biography.
This is in the movie,
Yeah.
Private Parts, and it's WNBC, and it's like, oh my god,
All the way down to how to speak.
all the way
Yeah.
down how to emphasize one letter of the call letters of the names. If you're a Howard Stern fan at all, if you've ever listened to or if you know anything about it, the movie Private Parts is definitely worth watching. I don't consider myself a huge fan, but I really like the movie. I think the reason I like the movie so much was because he was true to his own calling.
Yeah.
And when management tried to bear down on him and make him knuckle under, he just fought back, and he did.
He seems like a real stick it to the man kind of guy.
And
you know?
and he did what he did. He didn't knuckle under, and he stayed true to himself, and I admire that. But anyway, WNBC made me think of that as I was looking on this day in music history.
And that popped up, Private Parts?
No, WNBC did, and that
Gotcha.
reminded me of the movie Private Parts, which is really worth watching. Friday night after work, you and I are going to go see the movie It Follows.
Yes.
And we are already looking up some related disappearance type, tragic type.
Yeah, it got me like, what's kind of like that movie, and from I guess I don't want to do any spoilers, but
Yeah, we don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
We're just in the movie.
We're gonna watch the movie.
We're going to watch the movie. We're going to talk about the movie
and relate.
and
stuff.
some relatable,
Topics,
right,
yeah.
disappearance type.
Yeah.
stuff.
And there's actually something I mentioned that you had never heard of that I guess it's a generational thing, but I grew up hearing about
I
it.
never heard of Slender
and
Man.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Slender Man. Like,
And so
and
you
then
go and Google search, and there's thousands and thousands.
there's
of
all
stuff
kind
on
of stuff on it. It's, in fact, something very, very recent. So, yeah.
A trial
there
that's
is,
going on right now.
Right, there he is.
So-
So that's coming up. Scary movie and related stuff. The movie is It Follows, and I think it's been in release in some parts of the country for a week or two, and it's finally getting here this Friday. So we're going to go see it. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Talking about movies, Patrick Neff who we had on.
Yeah, right.
He started his own podcast. So what's funny is we're doing this Oscars episode, and so I think, who do I know that knows a lot about movies? So initially I was like just going to ask him questions about the movies, and then I was like, well, heck, let's just have him on. So he was on, and it was awesome, good episode. We're definitely going to have him on in the future.
Oh yeah.
So he has his website that he hasn't touched in months, and so we kind of spur him to, with our interview or whatever,
jump started him again.
We got him going, and then he's like, well, I want to do a podcast. So he's doing his podcast, Real Man Reviews, and we actually got a mention in his last episode 3, just kind of pretty much saying what I just said. They got me back into it, and
cool.
Some of the movies he talked about, and so yeah, go listen to that one. Go listen to that. It's, if you liked that episode with the movie talk,
right,
definitely go listen to him, because that's all they talk about.
And it's REAL, man.
Yeah, Real Man Reviews.
Yeah.
I think it's all one word. Real Man Reviews.
Yeah, but it's not REEL like you would think it might be, because
real,
it's talking about movies.
Real.
Right, it's
yeah.
real.
He didn't
as
get
in,
that I guess creative.
Right, it's Real Man as in Average Joe. He could have just as well called it Average Joe Reviews, because he's not. And
the guy from Creepercast is joining him as a co-host, and so they team up on some movies, and they always do for instance, the last one they did 5 sci-fi movies, not counting Star Wars and Star Trek.
I guess that's going to do it for us.
You got more?
No, I do not. Again, guys, sorry for the big gap. Just a lot has happened. I know I'm thrilled to be back. I mean, I'm excited. I missed this, and but this past weekend was just what I needed. It's just what the doctor ordered.
It was
needed a change of scenery to try to clear my head a little bit. So we'll be back in following weeks, and we've told you some things that are coming up. We're not going to promise dates, but we're going to do everything we can to see to it that this happens at least 3 times a month, about every 10 days at least. Yeah. That's our goal, and we really want to try to make that happen. But if it doesn't mean we've gone away. We're here for the long haul.
Oh yeah, and always we're looking at our emails. We've actually been getting, our public awaits. Hey, where y'all at?
What's going on? So
what's going on? I'm missing y'all on my commute. So that's awesome. Keep those emails coming. I mean, we love them. That's really what keeps us going. I love hearing from people I know, random people. It's so fun, and it's I don't know.
I enjoy talking, and I enjoy conversing. So, yeah, this means a lot to me. So we're not letting go of it.
Yeah. And I want you to go on iTunes and leave us a review. I've had some people say that they didn't understand what I was talking about when I do that. So you just go on iTunes instead of downloading or anything. It's real small. You can leave a review, and that just helps us get more random people to listen. People that we will never be able to market to, people all over the world, and that's how that happens.
Right.
Facebook is there. That's where we post all of our pictures and articles and stuff that we reference, and we are working on our website, theboomerandxshow.com, which is ours, but it's not nothing to go to.
Right. We haven't put anything there yet, but I've got somebody on it.
We got a guy.
We've got a gal. We've got a gal, and she is good at this kind of stuff.
Because neither one of us know at what we're doing when it comes to that.
No, so. And I don't know how to tweet and all that kind of stuff. But we've got a gal, and she's going to be working with us and helping us. So then we hope that we can be a more, multimedia complete thing as we go forward. It's certainly in the works. It's a goal. Not everything happens at once. As Albert Einstein said, he said, time is just to make sure that not everything happens at once.
Oh, that's gonna be so fun.
It is going to be fun. I've written a book over here, and we'll cover it in someday soon.
Oh yeah, very soon.
Is that it? That wraps us up.
I got nothing else.
Okay. Again, thanks, guys. We love you, and we appreciate you listening more than you know. And until next time, adios.